بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, to continue with Surah Yusuf, we'll be studying this morning ayah number 35 to 42. In Surah Yusuf, ayah 35 to 42. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم بدا لهم من بعد ما رأوا الآيات ليسجننه حتى حين ودخل معه السجن فتيان قال أحدهما إني أراني أعصر خمرا وقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا تأكل الطير منه نبئنا بتأويله إنا نراك من المحسنين قال لا يأتيكما طعام ترزقانه إلا نبأتكما بتأويله قبل أن يأتيكما ذلكما مما علمني ربي إني تركت ملة قوم لا يؤمنون بالله وهم بالآخرة هم كافرون صدق الله العظيم. So now we are starting to study a new chapter in the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. So far we learned that the wife of Al-Aziz in the palace plotted and planned against him and wanted him to be imprisoned. And now other women also collaborated. Other women also came and joined hands with the wife of Al-Aziz. And they all started to try to convince him to be seduced and to answer her call. But Yusuf alayhi salam depended on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and turned to him in dua and asked Allah very earnestly, sincerely making dua, "Oh Allah, keep me away from this fitna and keep me safe and protected. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ." Oh Allah, if you do not turn me away and turn away this fitna, this plot and planning and this tricks of these women, أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ, I will be probably falling into that. وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ, and I will be of the ignorant. And Allah answered his call, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ فَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنَّ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered his dua, and their plans and their plots was removed and turned away from him. Because Allah, innahu huwa as-sami'ul alim, Allah indeed, definitely, He is as-sami', all hearing, al-alim, all knowing. So Allah knows the situation and He hears the du'as whenever we turn to Him, in especially in the hard, difficult times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears. Now, in ayah number 35 and the rest, we learn about a new chapter in his life, that Al-Aziz and his immediate people around him, his advisors and people working for him, they came to a conclusion for several reasons. And even Yusuf alayhi salam came to the conclusion that the prison is much better for him. Now that not only the wife of Al-Aziz, but many other women also are pushing and trying their hard, and it is very challenging, very difficult. So he says, "As-sijnu ahabbu ilayya," that prison is much better for me. So it was clear to him that for at this stage, I better go to the prison than being here and being tested. It also appeared to the wife of Pharaoh, the wife of Al-Aziz, that if he doesn't listen to me, okay, this is ayah number 32. وَلَئِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا أَمُرُهُ لَيُسْجَنَنَّ. If he doesn't listen, then he will definitely thrown into the prison. So she was also determined. And Al-Aziz and his people also, especially Al-Aziz, was convinced that they saw all the evidences and the proofs of Yusuf alayhi salam's innocence, but they still wanted him to go to prison because they wanted to protect the wife of Al-Aziz. They wanted to cover up this whole episode, and they wanted to close all of the rumors, that to shut down the rumors, to close people's gossiping and all of that. So everybody was agreed on the same thing: let's put him in jail. ثم, after a while, after he was proven innocent with all the evidences, his shirt and the testification of one of the witnesses, the child, and also the admission of the wife of Al-Aziz herself, and also what happened to the women, all of those were signs that he is absolutely innocent. After that, it may took Allah knows how long, but after deliberation and thinking, badalahum, it appeared to them, it was clear to them, and lahum includes all of them, like I just counted Yusuf alayhi salam, and everybody was clear. Min ba'di ma ra'aw al-ayati, min ba'di, after that, ra'aw al-ayati, they saw all those signs, they were absolutely certain and sure, and Allah made those ayat, those signs, those proofs so clear that the innocence of Yusuf alayhi salam was absolutely evident to every person. All people were absolutely certain that he is not guilty of any wrongdoing. After that, it doesn't matter now if he goes to jail. If he had gone and thrown into jail without all those signs, without all these proofs and evidences, then na'udhu billah minha, there may have been some rumors, some wrong assumptions and accusations, na'udhu billah minha, against Yusuf alayhi salam. But now, ra'ul ayati, everything was clear. So they all now came to the conclusion, la yasjununnahu, that definitely he has to put him in jail. Al-Aziz has to put him in jail. Hatta hin, for a while, for some time. And the time has not been determined how long they wanted him to be in jail. But hatta hin implies that they didn't want him to stay there for so long. And they just wanted this whole rumors and this episode to die down. And as soon as the talk of the city dies down, he will be brought out. وَدَخَلَ مَعَهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. Now here starts another story with him. Yusuf alayhi salam goes to the jail, and almost same time two young people also entered in the jail. And it is said that those two people, those two young men, were also from the court of the king, from the palace of the king. And one was the um, cupbearer, the one who is serving the king the drinks and the wine and the liquor and things, and the other one was his baker, cooking bread for him. And they were accused of some wrongdoing and they were thrown into jail. But one of them was innocent and the other was guilty. So before their case was decided, they were thrown into jail. So they came together in the same time with Yusuf alayhi salam. قال أحدهما. Now they both saw a dream. Now, after experiencing with Yusuf alayhi salam and seeing the goodness in Yusuf alayhi salam and intelligence and kindness and care and all those beautiful sifat, beautiful characteristic and traits, they trusted him so much because in jail he was good to everyone. We will see this in a minute. قال أحدهما, one of them said, إني أراني أعصر خمرا. Now they both saw a dream, they both saw dreams, and they are coming to ask Yusuf alayhi salam for interpretation. So they don't trust anyone else, you know. So this shows Yusuf alayhi salam, by his character traits, had earned their trust and the trust of the other prisoners. And not only trust, but their respect. We will see several times they call him Muhsinin, Min al Muhsinin, as-Siddiq, and all the great character traits and titles that they are giving him. So it shows how much Yusuf alayhi salam had, the um, trust of all people because of his goodness. Even though they were in jail, and a lot of times in jail, in the prison, people lose their temper. They become mad, and they cannot bear. They cannot, tolerate one another. But here, it is completely the opposite. He shows forbearance, tolerance, hilm and ilm and patience and all of that. So the first person they turn to ask the interpretation of the dreams and trust him with the explanation is Yusuf alayhi salam. So they come and they say, one of them say, Ahaduhuma inni arani asiru khamra. I see myself in the dreams that I am, preparing liquor, preparing wine. Asiru khamra. Asiru mean when you take the raw materials like the grapes and things, and you make out of it the asiru, make out of it khamra, wine. وقال الآخر, then the other one said, إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا. I see in my dreams that I'm carrying bread on my head. I'm carrying bread, but I cannot take it to the destination. This bread doesn't get to the destination where it is intended, where it is planned to go. But what happens? تأكل الطير منه. The birds come and they eat out of this bread, the basket, and I don't get to the intended destination. So this was a dream. They didn't know what it means because both of them are in jail. They have no idea what their case has been, how their case has been decided, and they have no hope of even leaving this place. So one says, I'm doing my old work again. The other says, I'm doing the old work again, but this is a strange thing happens that the bread, instead of being served to the king and his palace, but the birds already eat out of it. Nabi'na bita'wili. Tell us about the interpretation of this. Nabi'na means akhbirna. Give us the khabar, give us the interpretation and understanding of this. Inna naraka. Indeed, we see you min al muhsinin, of the good doers. of the doers of the good, the excellent person. Now you are excellent in every way. In your knowledge, we see you always very knowledgeable, excellently explaining things. You are excellent in your conduct and you are excellent in your treatment of others. So you have always been muhsin. So they call him muhsin, and this is a general word. You are always good and nice and caring, so we ask you to do this for us. Qala, Yusuf alayhi salam now takes this an opportunity. He doesn't just abruptly and immediately tell them the meaning. He knows they are so anxious. They are, desperately waiting for this interpretation. This was a very strange dream, and this is a good time to put them in suspense, to give them some, to ask them for some time. And in that time, since they are very, very attentive, paying their complete full attention to him, Yusuf alayhi salam is now teaching them Iman and talking about Tawheed and his Aqidah and his lineage, his how he is related to great prophets, Yusuf, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, and his father Yaqub alayhi salam. His main purpose is to teach them the correct Aqidah and Iman, and to tell him the worship of anything else that the society is doing, including them, is wrong, and this is not the correct Aqidah that one has to be following. So he says, قال, he told him, لا يأتيكما طعام. Now this is a good time for da'wah. So we also can learn from this. Anytime we do get any opportunity like this, so we talk about our Iman, our faith, our Islam. But again, remember, one has to be smart to seize the opportunity, to look what is a good time to speak. You look at your audience, your listener who you're talking to, and seize the right moment. You don't have to explain and talk about especially when it is very, very fundamental and extremely important matter, not just any time in any circumstances, whether that person is attentive or not, listening or not, whether it's a good occasion or not, whether you are looking at the right time, right manner, right way or not. You're just talking and talking and talking and talking. That doesn't work. Yusuf alayhi salam, of course, number one, as a da'i, as a worker of dawah of Islam, he established his personality first. He made sure that people trust him now. And not by money, not by power, not by anything else, but because by his own character traits, by akhlaq, by manners, by trustworthiness, by honesty, by all of those caring for the people around him, showing them mercy and kindness. With all those great character traits, they trusted him so much. Now is the time when they are eager to learn. He teaches them something. قال لا يأتيكما طعام. He said, طعام, food is not going to come to you. لا يأتيكما طعام. The food, whether it was dinner or lunch or whichever time it was, before the food come to you, ترزقانه, and you are served that food, إلا نبأتكما. That before that, I will definitely I will inform you, let you know. بتأويله, I'll let you know the interpretation of the dream. قبل أن يأتيكما, before that food comes to you. So he gives him a time. Let's say an hour, 2 hours, whatever that time may have been, that before lunchtime or before dinner time, I'm going to explain to you what's happening. So that gives him a window that is a good time for him to speak now, to explain and talk and teach to them the most fundamental, the most important thing that they need in their life, and that is the aqidah, the correct iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكُمَا, this interpretation of the two of you, Dhalika, this is ishara, and this is pointing towards the interpretation. Kuma, of both of you, mimma, it is of something allamani rabbi. It is something from those things that Allah has taught me. My master, my Rabb. Now, this is the first point. The first thing that he is trying to instill in their mind, that this knowledge, whatever I'm saying, anything that I'm going to explain is not from me. So there is something that the two of them should think about. So he's not taking any credit. He's not boasting. He's not bragging, I'm so knowledgeable. I can tell you any dream, about any dream, any words. No, he says, my Rabb, my master is teaching, has taught me all of that. Second thing, inni taraktu millata qawm. I stayed away from the millah. Millah meaning the practices, the way, the deen, the religion, the deen, the practices, the lifestyle of qawmin, of those people, la yu'minuna billah. I have stayed away from the path of those people, la yu'minuna, that they don't believe in Allah. That is the second main point that he is trying to make, that I'm not following that path of disbelief. Wahum, and these people, the qawm, their path was, hum bil akhirati hum kafirun. They disbelieve in akhirah. They are the ones that don't believe in akhirah. So first he said, my Rabb is teaching me. Number two, I'm not following the path of those people who don't believe in Allah. Number three, those people who don't believe Allah, they disbelieve and reject and deny the akhirah too. So Rabb, Allah, and akhirah. Basics, main fundamental things. Those are the main things for one to learn first, and to be strong and steadfast in their iman in those things first. Then come the next steps of practicing and doing halal and haram and all of that. But the main thing is knowing Rabb, believing he has no sharik, believing that he is alone and no partner, no associates, no one to obey besides him, and believe in akhirah. وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِي. Then if I have stayed away from that wrong path, what is my path then? وَاتَّبَعْتُ, and I have followed مِلَّةَ آبَائِي, the path, the deen, the practices, the lifestyle of my parents, my forefathers. Aba, the plural of Ab. That means he's calling his ancestors, to all of them. Ibrahim alayhi salam, I follow his path. Ishaq alayhi salam, my grandfather. Yaqub alayhi salam, my own father. So he mentions father, grandfather, and great grandfather. Of course, there must have been a little more detail, but the Quran is precise and concise and to the point. So from within the lines, we can read more details. And that is the beauty of the Quran. So how do we know that? We know he immediately mentions Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. Of course, he may have already given them an idea who those people were, and prophethood and messengership and Allah's message, and those people came to teach, and they have a legacy. All of that is within the lines of these ayat that we are learning. Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub. مَا كَانَ لَنَا أَن نُشْرِكَ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Now he is continuing to tell them and explain in different wordings about the shirk not to be committed, and not to have any associates and any partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma kana lana, it was not befitting us, it was not appropriate for us. And lana here can primarily mean him and his family and his ahl, parents and forefathers. And lana also can mean all human beings, including the people in front of him in the prison. Ma kana lana, it was not appropriate and it's suitable and nice an nushrika billahi min shay, that we do any shirk, any partner, associating any partners with Allah, min shay, anything, any sort. So the whole point being here being is he is taking that opportunity and very gently, softly, and nicely teaching them the tawheed. Now, he did not, you know, attack right away their aqidah, their practices, and condemn them, or you know, come out against them in a very harsh and very unpleasant and serious manner. No, he is very softly teaching the aqidah in a very good manner without attacking them and their practices. ذلك من فضل الله, and he keeps referring every goodness, every knowledge, every favor to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذلك, this being on the straight path, the path of Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub alayhi salam, and not associating anything with Allah, that is min fadlillah. That is of the favors and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayna, upon us all. وعلى الناس, and on all people. This is the greatest fadl, favor and bounty of Allah, to have belief in Allah and not having any associates with Him and worshiping Him alone, but all that to be following the path of established and authentic leaders like Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ishaq alayhi salam and Yaqub alayhi salam. So even our iman, our deen, our practices has to be connected, has to be taught and practiced, and has to be following the example of established and known authentic leader. And in our case, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he was told to follow the example of who? Ibrahim alayhi salam. And that legacy continues. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ. But the fact is, أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ, a lot of people لَا يَشْكُرُونَ, they do not thank, they don't show gratitude. Now, why is the gratitude mentioned here? We would have expected to say a lot of people don't believe, a lot of people don't understand. But here, shukr, meaning having a clear aqidah, being on a straight path, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the right manner. This in and of itself is the greatest ni'mah, blessing and bounty, favor of Allah, which deserves a lot of thankfulness and gratefulness, for which we should always thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the greatest ni'mah of Allah that we should always be thankful and grateful. But a lot of people fail to be grateful to Allah. Ya sahibay sijni. Now look at his wording. He is, trying to talk to them in a very gentle manner to win over their hearts and to soften their attitude and to show care for them. So he says, Ya sahibai, oh my two friends. He called them friends, companions. As-sijni, my companions of the prison. Arbabum mutafarriquna khayrun. These are two hamzas. The first hamza is a question word. Are arbabun, these lords, the plural of rab, are these rabs, these lords, mutafarriquna, these various and different in shapes, different in association, different in materials that they are made of wood and stone and other materials, different in their functions, different in their attributes. They are gods of all different things. So are these arbab, these lords of different things, khayrun, And it can also refer to not only those physical idols and statues made of different things, but it can also mean leaders that people take as their gods, and they follow them blindly no matter what, whatever they call them for, whatever they decide and carve for people, and people blindly follow them. That becomes their arbab. Or it could be their career, or it could be their name and fame and power, whatever things that they follow blindly, and they, prefer that over the worship of Allah and the believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That could all amount to be their arbab. The mutafarriqun, these different and various ones of them, khayrun, are they better? Amillah, or Allah, al-wahid, the only uniquely one, al-qahhar, who is qahhar. Qahhar meaning he is absolutely overpowering everything else. He has qahar, he has absolutely complete, overwhelming power over. Nobody can overpower. Nobody can reject and repel and deny and reject his Allah Subhanahu wa Taala's might and power. Mata, he keeps teaching them about Allah, and especially the main powerful and great attributes and sifat of Allah. Ma ta'buduna min dunihi. You are not worshipping besides and underneath Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala illa, except asma'an, some names. These names of different gods, and gods for different functions, different activities, different responsibilities that you are assigning to them. These are just names, sammaytumuha, that you have named them. You have come up with all these functions, and then you have assigned gods for all these different functions. That's of your own making. Antum wa aba'ukum, you and your forefathers. So he made their mind clear. He worked on their basic understanding first. Slowly, Allah knows how long it took. While to 1 hour, 2 hours, half day, or how long it was before the food came. So they were now ready to be reminded of their own wrong practices, because that has to be mentioned and brought up again too. But you don't start with that. You don't say, hey, well, look at you, what you are doing, look at the wrong things that you are practicing. No, you start with all the soft, gentle, and the main undeniable facts about Tawheed and oneness and Iman and belief in Allah, and tell them what I'm doing, what my path is, what the path of my forefather is. Then slowly, slowly progress to what they are doing, and indicate and point out to them their wrongdoing. ما تعبد أنتم وآباؤكم, you and your forefathers just named these things. ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان. Allah has not revealed any proof and evidence on these things that you are doing. Now again, ibadah should never be invented, should never be carved out, should never be made up, because ibadah is the haqq of Allah, of our Master and Lord. And he has the authority to send any proof and evidence of how to worship him alone. So with the fact that you are worshiping these different idols, different arbab, and you are obeying and following and listening to them, that means there is some proof for you that Allah has allowed it. Na'udhu billah minha. But ma anzal Allah. Allah has never done that. Allah has never allowed it. Min sultan. There is no proof. There is no authority Allah has given you. Inil hukmu illa lillah. There is no hukum. Inil hukmu. Hukum and command, decision, qada is nobody's hands illa lillah, except it belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the decision and hukum and qada and qadr of who to worship, how to worship is only with Allah. Amaram. And now this is his hukum. The hukum is his. Now let me tell you what that hukum is, what that command and order of Allah is. Amara, he has commanded, Allah ta'budu, that you should not worship illa iyahu, except him. You have not, he has not permitted the worship of anything or anyone besides him. ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ. This is the straight deen and religion. Al-Qayyim, straight and established and firm. So the word Qayyim has all these meanings: straight, firm, strong deen. This is the deen that worshipping him alone, not associating anyone with Allah, and believing that hukum and decision and ruling does not belong to anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the straight deen. Now here knowledge is important. In the over there, shukr was for you to be guided and being on the straight path. That's a great fadl of Allah, and that deserves shukr. To know who to worship, to know how to worship, to know how to disassociate with yourself with from everything else, and to know what is the straight path and straight deen. This needs knowledge. But a lot of people do not know. They're not trying to understand the right from wrong. Ya sahiba sijni. He's telling him that gentle, soft manner again. Oh, my two dear friends of the prison. Amma ahadukuma. Now, after this introduction into Tawheed, calling them and giving them invitation and doing tabligh for them, he is now giving them the interpretation of their dreams. Ya sahiba sijni. Oh, my two friends of the prison. Amma ahadukuma. The fact is, one of you who saw his dream, in his dream, that he is serving drinks to the master, to the Lord, his Lord and the king. He will definitely be released, and he will go and start that work of serving in the palace. But the other one, and he doesn't mention which one of them. He's just saying it in general, so they are not offended or they do not feel bad. So one has good news, one has very bad news. The second one who has the bad news, what was going to happen to him is he will be hanged. He will be hanged and left there. He will not be even allowed to be buried. He will be left on the cross or hanging, or maybe he will be hanged, then thrown somewhere without being properly buried. And as a result, he will get rotten, and the birds will come and eat from his head. And mean his body will be eaten up by birds and things. So that is a very serious, punishment. The thing that you are talking about, asking about as tastaftiyan, you are asking for fatwa, for interpretation and understanding. That amr qudiya, it has been decided now. Now it means two things. The thing that you are asking me about, I just made it clear for you. So qudiya, this matter has been clarified now. It has been decided now. And it also can refer to the case that was against the two of you has been decided now. And what is that? One is going to leave, one is going to be hanged. Now, while one of them that he knew is going to be released, he's telling him, وَقَالَ, and he said, لِلَّذِي, to the one, ظَنَّ, that Yusuf alayhi salam was certain. Now, Arabic language is very unique. Sometimes the same word has the complete opposite meaning. So one in Arabic language means guman, guman meaning guessing. You're not certain, uncertainty. One is you are not sure. You just think about something, you have a guess, but you are not sure. But a lot of times, the same exact word means complete, full, undeniable certainty. So here it means complete certainty. Means, why is it one means complete certainty? Because a lot of times you start from doubt, and slowly that doubt, you work on it, you clarify it, you learn about it, and that one that you started with, that guman, that shock or that uncertainty you started with, came to a level of absolute certainty. So this is the type of certainty that developed. Vanna, he absolutely know annahu, that this person najin, he is saved min huma, from the two of them, that one person will be saved. What did he tell him? Udhkurni. Yusuf alayhi salam is telling him, remember me and the Rabbika, with your master. When you go there to your Lord, whoever you are serving, and most likely, like the books mentioned, he was back to the palace and serving the king. So when you go there, remember me, mention me there. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. Oh my goodness. He forgot. Now this is another test for Yusuf alayhi salam. He was not supposed to be there for that long. So Al-Aziz forgot about him. They put him for some time and it took longer. Now this young man who was saved, instead of reminding his master, mentioning about Yusuf alayhi salam right away, he also forgot. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. Shaitan caused him to just completely forget about him. Who? Yusuf alayhi salam. ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ. Shaitan made him completely forget the mention of Yusuf alayhi salam, Rabbihi, in front of or near or with his master, the Lord. فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ. As a result of these two forgetfulness and neglect, he stayed. فَلَبِثَ, he stayed, he remained فِي السِّجْنِ, in the prison, بِضْعَ سِنِينَ, some years. And those some years, bidwa, the word bidwa in Arabic language is from 3 to 9. So a majority of the books of Tafseer mention he stayed in the prison for 7 years. There are some difference of opinion, but a vast majority say it is 7 years. In those 7 years, he stayed in the jail before his name was cleared, and his innocence was absolutely announced and proven. And we will see, inshallah, tomorrow, after he interprets the dream of the king, he is brought out. So and that's a different chapter and a different episode of his life, when the king sees a dream, and the guy in the palace remembers, oh, I know someone who can interpret that. Let me go there and ask him. So we will learn that tomorrow, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا ولم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We stopped at ayah 42.